Very warm welcome to you, Mr. 𝗕𝗫𝗀𝗃𝗃 and Ms. Rajia Gilani. Welcome back to our show.
Hi, thank you. Thank you.
So it has been a very busy last week. So we straight away get on to our questions pertaining to that and with the spate of developments taking place. So our first question is, we saw that the last week the crude prices falling a bit after the US inflation figures were announced. And with the news of the China knockdown, how do you see the demand and the prices of the crude impacting?
Thank you, sir. Let me first of all explain something about the global inflation, the relation with the crude oil. Right now, the current global inflation is something around 7.9%, which is 2 times more than the same period. It was something around 3.05. US inflation last month is also reported around 8.6%, which was matched in the last year. This led the US dollar against the money in such trend. The crude oil price should decrease because there is a balance between the US dollar and the crude oil. However, the current global situation, like the Ukraine war, is leading to upward trend of the crude oil. And the situation that right now that we are facing some a very rare status in the market. But we can see that both of them are recovering. The US dollar and also the crude oil, both of them are increasing. Crude oil may sometimes might be increase and also fall down. But right now, what's the prediction of the Citibank and the Barclays banks, two multinational banks? They changed their forecast for the 2022 and also 2023 because they say that there is a delay on the negotiation between Iran and the USA against about the JCPOA and also the Russia war. Citibank and the Brent should be something around 130 for the second quarter of 2022, and the Barclays also sees 111 for the 2022 and 2023. The increase of the US equity against the Iran real is really extraordinary in last week, and a big fall down happened for the real. Also, we have the same situation for the Indian rupees. As I checked today, the Indian rupees is something around 78.4 against the US dollar. These facts seems that crude will not increase more than 125 because all of the things that I explained. But at the same time, we didn't see any very big significant fall of the crude. Also, we had some rumors in the market that maybe Saudi Arabia will also decrease the production of the US dollar for the next months, decrease the production of the crude oil for the next month. These things, it seems that the price of the crude not increased much, not increased down, same as like old trend that the US increasing, the crude should decrease. So there are some, it seems that the balance somehow changed and US increased and also crude is not decreasing too much.
Thank you. So in terms of the overall balance of the situation, you are suggesting it to remain in a narrow price band.
Yes.
Yes. So that's very interesting and a very well nuanced take on this. Thank you for that. So we move on to our next question to you is about bitumen, and the bitumen prices got higher in Singapore, but was seen weakening in Iran. And do you see further weakness in the Iran bitumen prices? And also in light of, again, as you mentioned, currency is weakening against the US dollar, and that's similar case for the Iran currency against the US dollar. So do you think the bitumen prices, this is the bottom, or we see it differently?
Actually, the current situation in Iran and the prices of bitumen in Iran are under the pressure from two sides. First of all, the demand is decreasing because of monsoon season in India has started, and also the global inflation that has led to the strength of US dollar in all the actually currencies. So the importers now prefer to stop and prevent to actually import, because they do not know at what level the currency will stop, and they will face some unbearable losses. The second factor can be the significant increase of US dollar value. In this case, the exporters should have some estimation that at what level it might stop, and how will they should adjust their actually costs. Also, the importers have the same issue, and they are going to see how much fall might occur in the future too. Also, because of these two reasons, Iran has to decrease its prices, bitumen prices. This situation was not true about Singapore. As you said, they have not decreased their prices. It wasn't true about Singapore, yes, because as I said in my last interview, Singapore bitumen price calculation is based on the crude oil status, which was in the level of 120 during this time. And they didn't decrease their prices, but at the same time, there wasn't any significant demand there. And in the current situation, even if Iran decreases its prices, there is a concern, an issue from buyer side that, as Mr. Youssef mentioned, the value of Indian rupees has weakened against USD, and so they do not know at what level they must calculate the importing cost. And preferably they want to stop and see how much this situation will continue, as there isn't any estimation about the fluctuations of Indian rupees in their market too. Because of these reasons, I think we can say that this risk is both for importers and exporters, and that's why Iran is going to fall and decrease the bitumen prices, because of the two factors that I mentioned in the beginning of my speakings.
Very interesting observation. And if I may add to your insights here, possibly the difference between the Singapore and the Iran bitumen prices is also because the demand consumption markets are very different for Singapore and Iran. Because India bitumen season is on the very low side currently because of the monsoons, while for Singapore, the consumption markets are not so down, so they remain more or less normal. So currently, I guess for some time, till the time the Indian demand picks up, it is likely to remain at similar level. Would you agree to that?
Somehow, yes, you're right, because the mostly demand of the supply of Iran is related to the India. When the best ports of India right now, there is no any good demand for buying from Iran, so there is a big pressure from the the market on the Iran shoulders, that how we should also supply and sell the cargo. I know, and I agree with you that the Singapore market is somewhat different, but you know, all the market right now is under the pressure of the world inflation, because none of the importers in their country knows that how they should also calculate their currencies, and if they import, is it possible or feasible for them, or buy locally. This is something that we heard from lots of Indian buyers in India and also many other countries, that they are going to calculate that if they buy is better or if they import is better. So these are the affection of the currency changes in all the world and the inflation. That we see that what will we pass in next weekend.
Thank you. Very well analyzed, and we really appreciate your deep insight, sharing the deep insight onto the discussion. So it really would have added a lot more of perspective to our viewers. So with that, thank you once again for being on our show, and we look forward to receiving you again.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, you too.